Christy and welcome back to my channel. I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm finally back and I'm super excited for this video because it is a bunch of bullet journal ideas slash spreads for students. I think having these spreads either in your personal bullet journal or if you want to have your own separate bullet journal just for school is a really great idea. I think it will really help increase your productivity. We're going to be tracking a lot of different things. It's really good to be proactive when it comes to school, and I believe that these spreads can help you guys do that. Before we get into the video, since I have been gone for such a long time, I have been filming and editing, so the next couple of weeks I will be posting a lot of videos related to school, and one of them will have a small giveaway in it. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and to turn on your post notifications so you know when that video comes out. But that's basically it. Let's just go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so before we get into the video, I just want to say that I created a fake schedule so that it's easier to explain these spreads to you guys. This is not my real schedule. These aren't my real classes or time slots. All of this is just fake for privacy reasons. Since this is a completely fake schedule that I created, I'm not actually going to use these spreads for school. I'm going to be recreating all of these spreads into a different bullet journal that I will actually be using for school. I will still be going through these spreads and show you guys how I would use them. These spreads are all just different ideas that are really useful for school, and since this bullet journal is more geared towards students, it's going to be less cutesy and it's more focused on its functionality. Since it is for school, I decided to keep it really simple and plain. Obviously, if you want to spice it up, you can always spice it up, but that's all I have to say for now. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So for the first page, I decided to do a class info page, and the idea for this page is to have all the information for all of your classes in one area. So if you were ever to look for something, you can always just go to the first page. This is where you put very general information like the room it's in, the days and the time of the class. I decided to put also start and end date of the classes since some classes start a little bit later than others. There are 8-week courses compared to like 16-week courses, and that's really good information to put down. Also things like your professor's name, office hours, the room of where the office hours are, your professor's email. If you want, you can also have your classmates' name and their numbers, which is actually a really good idea, and I got this idea from my professors. Just in case if you ever miss class and you need notes, you can always hit them up. It would be the same for each class. You just want to have that all set out for you instead of flipping through all of your papers and looking for that syllabus that your professor gave to you first day of class. It's nice to have it all written out in the same spot. This page is also the key that I use for my color-coded classes. I always color-code my classes, so everything I write in pink or red will be for microbiology. Anything in purple is for English. Anything in blue is for stats. And this will be dragged on throughout the whole semester. So the page next to class info is the weekly schedule page. I really enjoy this page because it gives you a really good layout of what your week will generally look like. The first thing you should do is to color in the time slots of your classes first. That way you can kind of create your own schedule around your classes. This could include anything personal, like when you eat lunch, when you eat dinner, when you want to work out, when you want to study, or when you have work. But obviously your work schedule changes from time to time, but if you have like a set work schedule, you can also put that in. Without an ideal schedule, you will eventually create a lot of lost time. And that happened to me a lot the past year of school, so I really like the idea of creating an ideal schedule. Another note, I did decide to write the time on top of the slots because without the times, it'd be a little difficult to go over here and determine what time your class starts if you were to ever forget. But I guess you can always look on this page where the time should be there. I just thought it was a lot more efficient to have it right next to it. This is a really good idea for students, especially if you want to make good use of your time. It's always a great idea to have an ideal schedule. Now on to the next spread. This is the semester overview, and this is probably my favorite spread. So in here I have all 4 months of the semester. If you do the quarter system or whatever system, just how many ever months long your classes are. So the top is the title, semester overview. On the right, I thought it was a good idea to put when the semester starts and also when it ends. And this is where you would put important dates for your classes, which includes quizzes, exams, any papers that are due, any projects that are due, any bigger assignments, not like little homeworks. You can put little homeworks in here too, but I feel like it would really stack up on the pages. Smaller homework assignments, we'll save that for later, but this is where like the big bad boys are going to be written down. It's a really good idea that when your professor hands your syllabus to you, to go through it and write it all down right then and there, or when you get home from class. So how I would use this is I would circle the date, go down to the section down here, use the same color, marker, highlighter, whatever, and we're going to create a circle like that. And then we're going to write the date down in the bubble just so that we know this one is referring to October 2nd. I'm going to write 2 here. And let's just say this is when your second quiz for lab is due. Quiz 2. And you would go through your syllabus and write all of this down just so that you have everything in one spot. For other important dates like Labor Day, I would circle that in black and write it in black. So you know that it's not really an assignment, it's an important day and probably a day that you don't have school. But you can also write it down here for other important dates. Like I know Thanksgiving break is during the fall. So it's good to have that down so you know when your Thanksgiving break is. But yeah, that's basically it for the semester overview. Okay, now on to the next spread. So the next page is the grade tracker. And this is also one of my favorites because I think it's really good to track your own grade just in case if your professor ever messes up your grade or if they don't update it online and you need to know what your grade is. This spread is really good for those purposes. Some classes, you know right off the bat the assignments that you'll be receiving. The 2 most important parts are probably the due dates and also the grades. And I think it's a smart idea to put it number-wise rather than A, B, C's, or D's. That way you can calculate it out of your total points. And most classes do give you a total points of how much the class is worth. Okay, let's just say that your final exam is worth 20 points. And you scored 18. Let's just put the score here, 18 out of 20. That way you know exactly how many points you missed. For classes that don't really list out their assignments and you're unsure, you can always create a blank spread and list it out as you go. So after the grade tracker, we have the September monthly spreads. The monthly overview here is really similar to my monthly overviews of my personal bullet journal. So the left side of the monthly overview is the assigned side and the right side is the due side. So the side is where you would put your assignment and when it was assigned. The right side is where you would put the due date of that assignment. I think it's a good idea to see when it's assigned and when it's due so that you know how many days you have to do it and spread out the amount of work accordingly. Also on the due side is where we will put dates of quizzes or exams. For bigger assignments like those, highlight it so that stands out more. Once it's highlighted, you know that, okay, this is really important and I had this many days to study up to that quiz. Now on the right page is a study and sleep tracker, and I actually really like this idea too. I listed out the days of the month. Since our classes are color coordinated, you can highlight as you study for whatever course. And what I mean is, let's just say we studied an hour of psychology on Monday. I'm going to take green, which is the color for my psychology class, and highlight up to an hour. Okay, after I studied for psychology, I studied for, let's say, English. I read for English for about 2.5 hours. 1 hour, 2 hours and a half. Since I use this as my sleep tracker as well, I'm just going to make a little thing right here and say that this black means sleep. Since we already know what the colors for each classes are, we don't have to write that down. That is all on the first page, but we don't have anything for sleep yet, and I'm going to make it black. This is by the number of hours, so let's say we slept for 7 hours. I am going to dot this here. And obviously, if you're not filling up these pages, then maybe you should be studying a little bit more. After the September overview pages, we go into our weekly spreads. And the weekly spread here is kept really simple. Over here we have a little calendar so that we know exactly which week we're on. It's also a good idea to put the actual week you're on for, let's just say this is like week 4 of the entire semester. It's good to keep track of that. Any notes for the week you can put right here. And I wrote this out like this so that you have a lot of space to put homework assignments that were assigned on that day. So when you receive a homework assignment, this is where the specifics would be. Let's say on Monday for your math class, your professor gave you your homework problems. This is where you would write down your homework problems. On the other pages, they're very general. Like the monthly overview, we just know that chapter 1 to 3 were assigned, and also it is due on Monday. But for the weekly spreads, that is where you know exactly the problems that you need to be doing for those homework assignments. That is why the space is provided for you here. And I have a little section down here for assignments that are due on that day. When you look at your schedule, you will know exactly when things are due and when you need to finish it by. Instead of having it all clumped up into one area, you would have to read through your lesson assignments to figure out if something was due or not. So it's a really good idea to keep those two separated. That's basically all I have for the back to school bullet journal. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked these bullet journal ideas. If you have any other ideas for other students, leave them down in the comments below. Or if you have any questions for me about these spreads, also leave them down below and I'll try my best to get back to you. And I'll see you guys really, really soon in my next video.